Hello everyone, live at 5 here with Cheryl. I hope everyone is doing well. There's always much to cover, a lot. So I went for a dog walk this morning and spoke to a few people. A couple of the people, there were a couple young couple, and I heard them talking about not traveling somewhere. I was walking my dog and I turned to her and say, I can't remember. I just kind of in the moment, but we ended up chatting about all kinds of things. So basically, I guess her family lives in northern Saskatchewan, and they wanted her to come because I think there was a birth of a child. I don't know if it was her sister's child or something like that, and they all wanted her to come. But she was under the impression that if you come from Toronto, then it could be trouble. And so with that, even when I was on the wedding the other day, a couple of people mentioned, "Oh, you're from Toronto." Oh, because this was in a rural area, a couple of hours north of the city, or an hour and a half north of the city. There's definitely, cases, but let me just read something here. So, we're talking about time. We're talking about trust. We're talking about turtles today, and I want to find. There was, oh, I know what it was. It was actually where is it here? So today, being July the 15th, so yesterday, has been reported that Ontario has diagnosed 102 new cases of COVID-19, which is the lowest number of new cases since March. So that's kind of cool. And on top of that, 19 of the 34 public health units across Ontario reported no new cases at all. So over the last day or so, I'm hearing this. No deaths, no this, no that. Yet there's still a lot of fear, but I want to bring it to time. Really want to kind of point out time. Now, there was a time when this initially all started, and nothing really big has happened. The numbers weren't there, but yet the bell was rung for a pandemic, and things started, fear, panic, load up on toilet paper, which is probably one of the most ridiculous things I've seen. But here's the thing. Time. So at the initial stages, when certain things were coming out and they didn't make sense, I was saying to people, time will tell, time will tell. And even though saying that time will tell, we've come into a place where it doesn't matter if the cases, we've moved from number of deaths to cases, and even though you've heard that the number of deaths were not recorded properly, it didn't matter. These numbers kept ringing up and ringing up. Of course they're going to go up. Where are they going to go down? They don't change things that way. It always goes up. So the idea, time will tell. Well, if I have to step in right this moment, right today, I would say time will tell. Time will tell this wasn't a pandemic. And we've crazily done this to our economy, and maybe it's part of the plan. That's what people are somewhat noticing, because they're following. Somebody sent to me a long Facebook message, and it was about, well, they said this, and they said this, and they said that. They said that there was going to be 3 days of darkness, and they said there's going to be, what was the other thing? Anyway, can't think of it right now to look up in my message. But the idea is, yes, there is quite often, I'm going to say, maybe it's a bit speculation, maybe it's positive thinking, maybe it's in the Bible, maybe it's this, that, maybe we misinterpreted, in a sense, it just keep passing down. So time will tell, but in the way of time will tell means, yes, we're waiting, but we don't have to wait. The idea is to understand we have choices. Not only do we have choices what we buy, and not to buy into this capitalism scenario, which is buy everything and anything that they want you to buy, and buy more of it, and like the toilet paper, That's not the, that kind of being present and doing that in our time. This is where our choice comes in, where we don't have to follow that line of capitalism, not the best line of capitalism to actually follow. That will make the richer rich, and the certain companies perhaps that are aligned with knowing the right people or being in the right circles, let's just call it that. So what will happen is the choice is not only to, I'm not saying that we really need to step away from being aware, but quite often it's very, very helpful to take time away from the mainstream media, time away even from the speculations of this is going to happen and that's going to happen. And some are making it seem like it's only going to turn out positive and this and that with all the different things you can say, and others are going, this is it, we're done, and this person isn't who they say they are, and Clinton's going to jail, and so many things around that. And I'd like to say time will tell, but I'm not quite sure if the story is going to unfold for us to tell what is what the same way. So the idea would be that this is the time. This is the time to choose what you watch. This is the time to choose to bring out choice and to choose to treat others with kindness and compassion and empathy. And this is the time to choose, yes, what to buy, what not to buy less, to not buy because they told you to buy it, right? This is the time to choose emotions that are going to bring you joy. Now, I would like to say happiness, but I'm reading that second book by Harari, which she's an international bestseller, and everybody continues to tell me that they like it. And if you've watched a number of these videos, at times I was coming in with sharing information on the Sapiens book, and now I'm reading Homo Deus, and it has just as much of an impact on me that the first one did, even though we're going into the future. But it's a lot of crazy talk, but at the same time, there's truths in there that are just putting it out as to realize what they really have gotten us to do and what they're wanting to seed our minds to do. So I'd like to say time will tell, but if we don't do anything and choose our emotions, choose how we spend our time, choose to be lighthearted, carrying all of that peace, and it's that groundedness of being in the moment, at the same time being grounded with understanding what you're choosing to think, what you're choosing to spend your time on, what you're choosing to spend your money on. All your thoughts, you're choosing those. And in the moment of any one time, yes, some people say I have a 1,000 thoughts in my head. It's hard to go to sleep. But there is a time where if you see things in a different light, that stuff will fall away. It will fall away. And this is, what did they say? Time heals all wounds. Time is a big word. But this Harari book, Homo Deus, not that I want to play on my mind, but he has a lot to say about the future. And now this is the whole second book is about the future. And he's seeding the minds of people to become, how can I say, controlled. That's the best way. And we don't. Ideally, we focus on what we do want in the nicest of ways between each other, with no prejudice, no judgment, no blame, no any of that, but a growth, just a natural progression as we walk the stairwell of our journey in life to grow. That's probably, let's keep things simple, because I think simple is going to be the best way for me to, how can I say it, the best way for me to bring more sanity and more peace to any situation is the simplification of things. That's why I wrote the book, All Guts, All Glory, is to simplify how the physical body manifests disease. Diseases, they have names, and they were given names. But the body is not, well, they say it, dis-ease. It's not an ease, right? So dis-ease, that's where the body is. And mentally, there's a component there as well. Now, in the Harari book, in the portion I've read so far, which is 50 pages out of 450 pages, they really talk about how we won't be able to, how can I say, we'll have all this great stuff in being controlled, but there's the other side of the coin, which is once they have control, what will they do with it? Right? That's the kind of key question. He kind of leaves that out. But I haven't finished the book yet, so we'll see. In time when I finish the book, but I absolutely probably come on here and comment. I really want to do a video just on those two books. I've made enough notes that it looks like, I don't know, it looks like a professor is researching and studying the book. Lots of notes. So I would love to read certain sections and go through them and make, I guess, for discussion, right? For discussion on certain points and see how people see it as well, and how they see it, and then interpretation, those different things. Anyway, I look forward to doing that. Not sure when, but I will for sure. So trust. Here's the thing. I think the optimum trust factor here is not about trusting me. It's about trusting yourself, trusting you. There's many people in this world that are playing different parts, and as I mentioned earlier, some may seem like the good guys perhaps, and maybe they're leading us down the path to think, well, we'll just believe in this one person and all is fine. So I'll carry on with my busyness, I'll carry on with my mundane things, the things I have to do that I don't want to do, but trust. So trust in you, trust in yourself, trust your gut, trust your senses. And this is no different if I give you just a little analogy. I don't know if you've ever walked in a space and somebody goes, do you smell something? And somebody's going, no, I don't smell. No, there's something, there's something here. And you follow that, and it turns out to be something, because not everybody's using their senses, and maybe not using their senses all the time, thinking of the 5 or 6 senses, whatever it is, not always using that. So go with the gut. So there's been other times and senses, let me think of a couple of other, or at least one other example, senses. Just crazy things can happen. Anyway, I had 2, and then I said 1, and I forgot the other one, and that's okay. But that's the trust factor. So the trust in today's Live at 5 is to put it all into yourself and to trust what is right for you at this moment, at this time. Trust that it may change and morph a few days from now, a week from now, a month from now, who knows when. Moment, minute, it can change. But trust yourself. So if there is any particular situation, anything that you're reading, watching, thinking about, deciding upon, trust yourself more than anything else that is outside of you. Learn to trust yourself. Now what you can do, and I know I've given this exercise before, is to pause. So take a pause, clear the head, close the eyes if you want to, take that pause, and then ask your questions, or just have thought about what it is that's kind of popping in. Whether it's a decision to make, a choice to make, any of those things, or if there's something, take the pause to, maybe in the case of the analogy of a smell, somebody doesn't smell it, but you smell it, and just to kind of, breathe it in again, and just pause, and instead of jumping around, and just smell it again, and hopefully it's a nice smell. But even if it's not a nice smell, it may be a smell that you have to explore. Like you really have to figure it out, because if you don't, it could be that your fridge turned off. I'm thinking that because that's what happened. I came, just before I went away for a few days, I noticed that the freezer, the butter was a little bit softer. I was getting something. Anyway, so I transported everything down to the other freezer. This is the second fridge. And it worked out. So I just cleaned it, and it's came on, and everything's working well. Fridge, freezer, everything is very good. And so that's, those are the kind of things. You got to trust what to do. And at that moment in time, I figured when the fridge didn't seem like it was working, that I'll take care of it when I get back. It's not the end of the world. Just move everything into other spaces and leave something for the test. That's what I did. There you go, another T word, test. So test yourself with trust too, as well. It's not a bad thing. Give pause to different things, maybe little things, maybe lighter things, maybe not as crazy things. And then that way, in the moment you're not trying to figure out the trust thing, you've had some practice with it, you've had some thoughts around trusting yourself more than anything else, and trust. So where I am with trusting this situation is that to focus on what matters most. Yes, the joy. Yes, the different things. Yes, I went blueberry picking. I'm not going to not stop doing what I like to do or doing what I would normally do. And that's just how that is working. So the idea for me is I am trusting my gut more than more. The reason for coming on is just trusting my gut and thinking that I could make a little bit of an impact to the people watching this video, or get to watch this video, to step away from the drama that's going on for whatever reason it's going on for. We have heard so much information. We could each probably write a book on it, to tell you the truth, and do a few-hour video on it with all the different things. So the idea is to step away from all of that and trust your gut and do what you think is going to be right for you. I've been watching things, but as I watch things, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's going to happen. I don't know if they're telling the whole truth. I don't know if they've been told the truth. And certainly, as they say, there can be paid opposition. So you can actually have people out there that seemingly are, this is where we get the sides, right? The different sides of divide and conquer, taking a certain side, and they're telling you all the good things you want to hear, but yet there's some things that they're involved in that kind of changes it all up. So the idea is, there's nothing wrong being aware. It's just, how does it make you feel? What choices does it make you have? What expectations? So the other day I talked about expectations, and this is the thing about many of the different videos, many of the different articles, perhaps. The same person you've been following for a long time, and you're just picking up everything that they're saying as truth, or as gospel, or whatever you want to say it. So that's what I want to come in about trust. So learn to trust in yourself more and more, all aspects of it. Then the last one was turtles. So I thought that was kind of fun. It just popped in. Turtles. Yeah, not truffles, Michael, but turtles. Turtles are, as other creatures are, beautiful creatures. In fact, turtles has been on the mind as I've been going up the north, back and forth, where my uncle rescued a turtle off the highway. My sister has rescued a turtle off the highway. They've seen dead turtles on the highway. And the funny thing was, when my uncle rescued the turtle, I could see the legs kind of moving, but as soon as that turtle hit the ground, it raced. Actually, they're not that slow. When they need to race, they'll race. And it was just off like off and going into safety. But the idea, turtles have a very interesting way of presenting themselves physiologically, and this is why I wanted to bring turtles up. Turtles breathe very slow, and that's why when we understand or have learned that they live much longer, 200 years, 300 years, 400 years, who knows how long exactly. If we've captured every turtle, maybe there's older living turtles, but they live a very long time. And the understanding I have about turtles is they breathe that much slower. Their metabolism is that much slower. And I wanted to bring it in today because I wanted to instill the image of turtle in with everybody slowing down their breathing, breathing in and out through the nose. Now you can breathe out through the mouth, but in through the nose. Call it turtle breathing. But that's one gift, I think, in understanding about the turtle and having an appreciation for that creature on our planet, is that it has a slower metabolism. And this slower metabolism means slower breaths per minute. And if we can all do turtle breathing, or be slow as a turtle, or slower than we usually are, and mostly what it will do, you should probably do it naturally in breathing exercises or meditation. Probably in your sleep you would slow down your breathing as well. And I'm slowing down the way I'm speaking for that reason. But the idea is slow, turtle, slow down. Slow down can mean different things to different people. Slow down the breathing, slow down the pace, slow down how much you're doing in a day or ongoingly, slow down your thoughts, slow down. So that's the main message around that beautiful creature, the turtle. I think if for the most part, I don't know any other animals and creatures that we have learned about that are any slower than the turtle. And it sure has been wrapped up in the tortoise and the hare, slow, 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 the turtle being slow. But slow and steady wins the race. So if we want to call the event of life a race, then a journey, then maybe slowing down will get our trust, our instincts kind of be more present more and more to our day-to-day decisions and choices and that kind of thing, right? So time is now, trust is within, and turtle is a reminder for everybody here to be calm and to do everything that I've been speaking about as being, kind, compassionate, empathetic, all of those things. So, right, so we want to kind of move into all the things that feel good, that we can. And if it doesn't feel good and it feels uncomfortable, it might be in some cases we've had judgments around it. We may have guilt around certain things. That's an important piece for a lot of people when we try to go into move into being everything we truly can be, in here for each other. And sometimes the guilt will pop in with thoughts and stuff like that, and then you start doubting yourself and you start thinking about things that you might have done. So who's the person you have to forgive the most? Is yourself. So forgive yourself for anything that crops in the past and move forward. This is the time. This is no better time than right now. And I would say the same thing 5 minutes from now, 1 day from now, 2 weeks from now, 1 month, 10 years, doesn't matter. This time is always now. So this is a wonderful opportunity. And sometimes people need guidance, and some people need the support, and all of that stuff can be with yourself and for yourself, for sure. But sometimes it's going to happen. It's going to unfold when you ask for help, when you pray for help or pray for something. And that's a good way to look at prayer, is something you can bring for anybody. That's the kindness, to pray for other people. So prayer is a wonderful tool, because basically what are you doing? You're just vocalizing something, and it humbles people. It really is heart-centered for people, and this is really, really needed at this time. So do that. I'm going to leave off with a story, another story. So I'll say hello to everybody who's on. Again, I can't see who's all on, but that's okay. You can say hello, and then I'll know. The story I want to kind of end with was my third encounter of the day, and it was an older lady who had a puppy, a beautiful little puppy, and she had purchased the puppy in February before all of this happened. So she was so grateful. She had her mask on, and she was trying to stay to the side and stay out of it. She's been very conscientious, and this is a very interesting story for on a few levels. So I could see that, and of course my lovely dog loves dogs. Even though he's 9 years old, he's always been a dog's dog kind of thing. Dog loves dogs. So he picks up on the puppy energy, and he wants to go say hello. So she's fine. We're keeping our distance. She's wearing a mask. And I kind of go off to the side because there's other people coming, so we're just on the side. And she mentioned that, I can't remember the whole train of conversing, first talking about her puppy, but then she mentioned about, a couple walked by. That's what it was. A couple walked by, and maybe they were 3 feet away, but probably not. And I could see that she was thinking about that. Like it was, I get it. She's on a mask, and she's thinking about the distancing, physical distancing. And so then she kind of, she goes, I can't believe they walk so close to me. And she goes, it seems to be happening to me. It's just, no, people aren't thinking. I mean, I'm seeing it, and she's so aware of it and so sensitive. So we got into talking about it, and what I mentioned to her was I felt that she was very caring, and everything that she was doing was coming from her heart. And I could see something melt away. I could feel and see something like her shoulders, and just everything was kind of melting, as in being acknowledged, if that makes any sense. So she was being acknowledged for this heartfelt, caring way of being. Then we got into speaking about, yes, the virus, and I can't remember all the details. We probably spoke for about 15 minutes or so. And it was a nice conversation all in all. But she definitely relaxed, and I gave her a couple of things to think about. And I was speaking to her about the time and this and that and viruses. And it was very, I think, very encouraging for her to have this kind of open conversation about something, and somebody who was listening to her and acknowledging her. So it was very, very lovely conversation, a very lovely conversation. And I appreciated the time I got to spend in the park this morning, or in the trails, walking the dog, for the 4 people that I had conversations with anyway. And yeah, it was interesting. Oh yes, so to circle back to the first couple I met and bringing up certain things, they had heard certain things, but the one person said, but this person talks quite often about aliens, so I wasn't quite into him talking about certain things. Anyway, I brought up certain things, and at the end of the day, I think she's going to go and visit her family in Saskatchewan. That's kind of where it left off, and our whole conversation through the ravine, probably almost the length of the ravine, but they went on their merry way, and they lived close. But so that was kind of fun too as well. And I'm trying to remember the third conversation with the other guy. It had to do with more park and stuff. Oh, we were walking shoulder to shoulder. That's what it was. Here we are. He was talking about, he's part of the Ratepayers Association, but on the other side of where I am. And we got into that conversation. Next thing you know, he's walking right beside me, and I go, I'm thinking that social distancing isn't something that you are concerned about. And he says, nah, I'm not concerned about it. But I didn't go into it any further because he was already chatting about other things. But interesting. So, complete stranger walking shoulder to shoulder with the dogs, and he had his dog, and he didn't usually walk out. This was very odd for him to be walking out in the ravine, but we left it as hope to see you again soon, walking the dog for whatever reason. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. This 30-minute mark, I'm kind of promised myself I would kind of keep it to 20 to 30 minutes. So time, trust, and turtles. And hopefully those will be words that you will think about for the rest of the day perhaps, or even write them down. Just little reminders for yourself, whatever meaning that they have for you, and you go from there. So I'm going to say sayonara, arrivederci, au revoir, bye-bye, all those kind of wonderful languages. I wish I knew 10 languages to say goodbye in, but because for all the different people that are around the world, language is definitely unique and different, and I've always loved languages. So we'll leave it at that, and I'm going to wish everybody a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next time at Live in 5. If I don't see you over the weekend, have a pleasant weekend, and we will see everybody again soon. So any questions, comments, feedback, post them there, not only for me, but also for other people. So this is where we get to interact and share and support one another. So take care, everyone. Bye for now, and see you soon.